My best advice to you, if you want to check out a song plugger, anybody in the business, including us, call your resources. Call your performing rights organization. Ask them if they've ever heard of that plugger. Ask them if they've ever heard of us. Call NSAI, Nashville Songwriters Association International. They are the biggest songwriting organization. They are trusted by everyone on the row. Anyone who's anyone is a member there. Ask for Cherie. Call her and ask her, have you ever heard of this song plugger before? What's their track record? Are they safe to work with? What are their credentials? Blah blah blah. You can do that with anyone in the business. Now, if you do find a legitimate song plugger to work with, it's a little different than working with a publisher. And I'm not talking about independent song pluggers.
Right.
People that are not associated with publishing companies or anything like that. So how do you work with a plugger? How do you get one? If you can. What are the contracts like?
Indie pluggers will charge typically anywhere from $250 to $1,500 a month to work your catalog. A lot of it will depend on the size of the catalog that they're working. Whether or not they've got 3 of your songs, or whether they've got 15, or whether they've got 45 or 50. But here again, the important thing is that you give them quality songs, whoever it is, that you give them quality songs, and that you figure out a way to really know if the information that they're giving you is true or not. And part of that is what you just said. If they're legit, do you think so-and-so, ask Cherie, do you think so-and-so really takes meetings with Renee Bell? Do you think so-and-so really takes meetings with Autumn House at Capitol? Find out as much about these people as you can, and then contact them and find out what their rates are, what they would charge you to work 5 songs a month. If they're a legitimate song plugger, they're not just going to take 15 songs that you send and start running with them. They will, they may listen to 10 songs and say, I'll run with this one, or I'll run with these 2.
Because if they're out there really pitching the stuff, they're not going to pitch something that they don't believe in or that isn't going to make them money.
Well, I come back to the World Series of Poker thing. As an independent song plugger, they're even skating on thinner ice and start with less chips than a publisher. If they're really out there doing the job that they're supposed to be doing, then they're only pitching songs that are competitive.
Right.
And if you send them 10 songs and they say, I'll pitch these, and then they charge you per month for pitching those 10 songs, they're probably not legitimate and they're probably not doing their job.
And also ask them how many other clients they have.
And exactly.
If they take 10 songs from you and they have 50 other clients, there's no way, just logistically, that you can pitch that much catalog. Not in the way that it needs to be done.
No.
So
no, but if they're not discriminatory about material enough that out of every 10 songs you pitch them, they only pick 1 or 2, then they're not doing their job.
Right.
They're not really out there pitching the songs.
And look, I know how badly as a writer you want success, and I know how important validation is every step of the way. And the reason why we're kind of harping on, make sure if you're working with an independent plugger that they're legitimate is because there's a lot of ones on Music Row in Nashville that are not. And they know how important those validation steps are for unsigned writers.
They do.
And they prey on your dreams, and they will use you up until your bank account is dry. And I hate to be that negative, and I don't want to make anyone scared, but But that's the reality of the situation. And yeah, you might sign with some plugger and they'll go, oh yeah, I got your song on hold here. And they're going to give you just enough to keep the money coming in, just enough to get you excited. But after, but when's enough? When will you reach the point where you're like, okay, well, this doesn't really mean anything?
Mm-hmm.
Because like for an unsigned writer and someone who's just starting out and is working it really hard, to get a hold is amazing. But go ask a seasoned writer what they think of holds. Don't care. Doesn't mean anything. Because the professional writers that have cuts, they already know they're writing at a competitive level. They don't need that validation. But those of us who are just, really starting to get into it, that means the world to us. And these pluggers that are not legitimate know it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they keep you baited. And another thing that some pluggers do and some plugging houses do is they have 2 catalogs. One is legitimate, where they do plug for some bigger name writers, and that's what they use to credential themselves with you. And then there's the B catalog, and that's all of your songs. And that's all the writers just like you, their songs. And while they go take real meetings for their real writers, they do drop-offs for the other writers, if they do anything at all. So again, it's really, really important, that you do find out if they're legitimate. And what Chip said is an excellent point. If they're not listening and cherry picking from your catalog and they're just taking everything in to charge you a higher price for a larger catalog, probably not legitimate. 9 times out of 10, I say not legitimate.
Right. And something else too, depending on your investment, I mean, if you're paying somebody $500 a month or $750 a month to pitch your songs, it might be a really good idea for you to come meet that person.
Absolutely. If you can get to Nashville, do it.
Instead of just calling them and saying, hey, I need a song plugger. I've got 10 songs that I want you to listen to and then pitch them for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And see where they meet you.
Yeah, it really would be, because you're making an investment. If you sign a year contract with somebody for $500 a month, what is that? $6,000 a year.
Yeah, that's a pretty substantial investment.
That's a substantial.
In your career. And that goes with anybody you do business with on Music Row, and in Nashville. There's a ton of demo studios in town. Very few can you just drop in and check out the studio. You can do that here.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons we encourage people. If you're in Nashville, stop by, check out the facilities, meet us, see that we're for real. This is a real facility.
Yeah, come by when a session is going on so you can see how this whole thing works.
And if you're not in town, go to our website. There's a button on the right-hand corner that says live stream. Click that. Any Thursday between 10 and 1, and sometimes on Tuesday, you'll see us. We have a live stream webcam that you can watch the musicians work. You can see that everything that we promise our clients, we absolutely deliver 100%. And that's why it's also important that anyone else you work with, a plugger, anyone that you're going to be paying money to, if you're an artist, if you're working with a manager, if you're working with a style consultant, or whatever, you can go and see with your own eyes and touch and say, okay, this is substantial.
Right.
This is real. They are who they say they are. They do what they say they do. So we just wanted to really, and again, I hate to harp on pluggers, and I'm not trying to give pluggers a bad name. There's a lot of fantastic ones here.
There are.
But most of those pluggers are not taking a ton of new writers
No,
on.
they're not. No, they're not.
Because they need name writers to get in those doors.
And they need quality material.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that are successful, the ones that are really doing it, they don't have time to sit down every day and spend a portion of their day screening new songs.
No, they're in meetings.
They're in meetings. They're listening for their 2 or 3 meetings that they have coming up the next day. They're not listening to 20 songs that a new unknown writer sent in to screen and see if it's something that they want to pitch.
So, and again, if you do find a legitimate plugger and you are going to be working with them, their contracts are a lot like single song deals. You'll be paying a monthly retainer, and many of them, and every plugger has their own kind of deal that they do because they're independent. They don't have to answer to a corporation. You know, they have their own contracts and deals that they make. But a lot of times, you know, you pay a monthly retainer, and then sometimes they'll do a co-pub with you. Other times they'll leave the publishing alone, but then they have a bonus system, and it's based on, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's based on like, okay, they get the song cut and they get a bonus for that.
Right.
And then as it climbs up the charts,
Right.
they get bonus on that, or however many units are sold. There's different bonus
Right.
structures on all of
Right.
that. So it can get a little complicated.
But the majority of them are going to do it on a retainer, because if you get a song cut tomorrow, it's 12 to 18 months before you're going to start seeing income on that song. And you know, these people, independent song pluggers, are like everybody else. You know, they've got a house note to pay. They've got you know, a family to feed. So they need the money coming in on a monthly basis. So the majority of them are going to charge you a monthly fee.
Right.
And they may also, besides the monthly fee, they may also ask you for a piece of the publishing if they do get something cut. And in addition to that, there may be somewhat of a bonus system. You know, there may be a 10% or 20% bonus of some sort. But that's all stuff that you need to check out
Before you let them plug for you.
before you sign that contract with them. And as with the single song contracts, it's a whole lot better to sign a new contract after a year than it is to sign a 3-year contract with somebody and decide after 6 months that you're not happy with them,
Right.
that you don't like what they're doing. Then, you know, it's their option really as to whether or not to let you out of the contract or to force you to continue to keep paying your monthly fee. So I would look at maybe a year contract. Once you're 98% sure that this is the person you want plugging your material, have it closed on the end so that you know that after a year you're not going to be paying that person any more money if you decide you really don't like what they were doing.
Right.
And it'll be very easy if you're happy, if that song plugger is happy, after you're 10 months, 11 months in, to say, hey, I want to do another year. It'll be really, really easy to get that turned around and to be able to do it.
So, so I think we covered everything. And just to recap, the Music Row 101. So there's 3 main ways to get your songs cut. Do it yourself, which I highly recommend, especially when you're just starting out. Publishing deals, staff writing deals, and single song contracts are working with the song plugger. Again, you can go back through this video. I think we've packed it full of tons of information for you. We'll be doing some other videos in the near future to go over maybe more detailed stuff, but I hope this gets the ball rolling for you and it gets you inspired.
And you know, something else, if you have any specific questions, feel free, there's contact information on the NDS website. Feel free to send in some specific questions, and perhaps we can cover those in another one of our videos like this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I always make myself available to any writers. I guess I'm a writer's advocate or something. I've become, I don't know. If you have any questions for me, any questions for Chip, whatever, just email us. And if you want more detailed, in-depth stuff, I cannot stress the Music Row Mentoring Program enough. It is worth every dime. Anyone who's used it has found it invaluable. And again, you know, you get to talk to people who are in the trenches. So,
right. That's right.
So anyway, hope this helped, and right ahead.